in Kikuyu land as a Nairobi journalist probes a land battle entangling the local government and a powerful multinational corporation. Covered wounds are revealed and family secrets are exposed. Kikuyu Land is directed by Andrew H. Brown and B. Wangondu, and this film is their directorial debut, and B. Wangondu is the Nairobi journalist that is focused on in this film. And Kikuyu Land just debuted at the 2026 Sundance Film Festival. Kikuyu Land is a very engrossing, heartfelt documentary that is surprisingly quite layered. There's a lot going on in this film, and it focuses on quite a lot of people. We follow the Nairobi journalist B. Wangondu, who also co-directed this film. B is following a story of the Kikuyu people who back in the colonial times, the tea plantations took over the lands of the original Kenyan people, and find some people, particularly one person, he's older gentleman, maybe he's late 60s, early 70s. He has documents and evidence that his father owned the original lands that the tea plantations are on, and these tea plantations are owned by huge multinational corporations like Unilever and Lipton. And this elderly gentleman, he's in the process with the National Land Commission. He's following his evidence, and he just has a few months left until the decision is made on if he will receive compensation for his land being taken away from his ancestors. And B also meets people who are still who worked on these tea plantations and also are still working on these tea plantations. And there's a lot of corruption and sexual assault and rape and violent assaults going on these tea plantations, and these plantation managers are Kenyan men who exploit these young women who are working on these plantations. And these women, they live on these plantations. They rely on this job for not just income but also for housing. And there's been hundreds and thousands of women who've worked on these tea plantations over the years who have been exploited and sexually assaulted by these plantation managers. You also meet young boys who are going to school, and then sometimes they can't go to school. Sometimes they have to walk and to these tea plantations and help their family with the work as well. And while investigating this story, B also looks into her own family history, and she's always had an image of her grandfather, of this very good man who is very well respected in the community. But the more she investigates, she finds out that her grandfather was working with the colonial and settlers, and he used his power against fellow Kenyan men and Kenyan families just for his own benefit. And this is quite surprising to be, and she has mixed feelings about it. I mean, it just says it is what it is, but also the more she investigates about this topic throughout the film, it puts rifts through the family. Like, she is not allowed to go to her grandmother's house anymore, and it's conflicting feelings for her. She's devastated that it's had such a effect on her family life. And the directors in this film, they're really risking their safety and life investigating these issues, because the corruption in Kenya is going all the way up to the top of office, the president of the parliament of the country. And this follows back in 2022, 2023, when the president is in his election campaign. President Ruto, in his campaign, he always put an image of himself as like he came up from poor, he's a hustler but now he's quite wealthy, and he uses land to gain wealth. And so towards the end of the film, this elderly gentleman that B meets, who's trying to get his compensation for his land, he is not successful, even though he's still fighting. At the end of the film, the President Ruto, he disbands this National Land Commission and makes his own company or his own organization, and pretty much knocks back anybody who's trying to get compensation for the land from decades ago. So this is not a very hopeful film, but hopefully if this film can get seen by a lot of people, and you can really have to think about, okay, which tea companies am I buying my tea from, and where they sourcing their products from, and is it ethical, and it's notable that all the corporations in this film just even refuse to comment on this film, and even journalist B. Wangongishi travelled to the UK just to talk with any of these tea companies, but nobody wanted to talk to her. So there's not a lot of hope in this film, but hopefully if more people can see this film and see what's happening in Kenya on these plantations, and then hopefully some change can happen in the future. I give Kikuyu Land 4 stars out of 5. I highly recommend checking out this film. It raises a lot of important topics. It does finish on not a very hopeful note, but hopefully if this film can be seen, then changes can be had in the future. But I definitely recommend checking out this film. Debut directors Andrew H. Brown and Wayne Penn Wangondi really do create a very topical, even thriller, there's like some thriller elements in this film, so they really do create a very well-made, engaging documentary. Thanks for watching. What did you think of Kikuyu Land? Please comment below what you thought of the film. See you next time. Bye.